Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Well, the events of the early part of this week have kind of gotten me the urge to want to do a Tripp's Take. And I'm sure if you've been a longtime listener or viewer of this podcast, you know my love for the New York Football Giants. And the events of this week really were unavoidable. Now, here's the part of this that, really is not surprising to me. I have a screensaver on my computer. I look at the Giants' schedule every day. And when that schedule came out, I realistically did not see how the New York Giants could win more than 5.5 games. So I bet them to not win 5.5 games. And it was funny because I had a discussion at some point during the preseason with a couple of people I know, and I said, all right, let me ask you something. 7 wins, does that keep Dable's job? No way. 7 wins with Jackson Dart. Yeah, I think it would keep his job. Well, he played that card. Russell Wilson did nothing. 3 losses right off the start of the season. He put Jackson Dart in there. They win against the Chargers, and you think, okay, things are good. But a disturbing trend started. This team became more of an offshoot of the run and shoot. And Jackson Dart kept getting evaluated for concussions. This happened 3 times in the 7 games he started. The 4th time was Sunday. And Sunday's debacle in Chicago could not be overlooked. The Giants become only the 2nd team since the merger, that's in 1970, to have lost 2 games with 10-point leads, more than 10-point leads, with 4 minutes to go. The other team was the 2004 Seattle Seahawks. Sunday's game against Chicago. And the thing about the Chicago game, I'm sure Brian Daboll is a great offensive coordinator. I mean, that's what got him the job because he did a great job with Josh Allen with Buffalo. There's no doubt about that. But you have the ball deep. You have a chance to really, really make it difficult for a Chicago team that had struggled all day. And you kick a field goal, but then there's a penalty. So the ball's on the half-yard line. And I think Greg Olsen hit the nail on the head. You take the points off the board. You had lost your starting quarterback. Russell Wilson was in, and I don't know if any Giant fan thought Russell Wilson was going to be able to lead them down the field again. You're that close. Take the shot. Even if you get stopped, they've got to go 99 yards. And your defense can just turn up the pressure and try and get a safety and really make it a difficult proposition for Chicago to come back. Didn't do it. Took the field goal, 20-10 lead, 4 minutes left. And we all know what happened. Brian Daboll paid the price, and the sad reality is Mike Kafka now becomes the 6th Giants head coach since 2016. Now, a buddy of mine had texted me and said, man, the last 2 Giant coaches have been fired in season. No, it was Ben McAdoo who was fired. And we all know why he got fired, because he stopped Eli Manning's consecutive start streak for Geno Smith, when we all knew Geno Smith was not the answer for this Giant team. That was a waste. The coaches, by the way, just in case you're curious, were Ben McAdoo. Steve Spagnuolo was the interim in 2017. Pat Shurmur was in for 2 seasons, and of course, he made the decision to sit Eli after a couple games and put Daniel Jones in his rookie year. But then Shurmur was fired. Joe Judge was there, and they declared, Joe Judge is good after the 2nd year, after another year of disaster, and they finally fired him after 2 really bad performances. One of them, I think, was against the Bears, if I'm not mistaken. And then Brian Daboll came in. Now, is Daboll the problem? I don't think so. I think part of it has got to fall on Joe Schoen. But at this point, does it make a difference? Give Mike Kafka a chance to do something. Let him audition. He's got 7 games. But the problem is the schedule is still the schedule, and that schedule is brutal. They play the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions. They get a bye. Actually, they'll get their bye. They play the New England Patriots, I thought was going to be a winnable game earlier this year. Now it's not. New England's first in the AFC East. And then they close the season with 4 games that, I mean, I don't know. At that point, is it really going to matter? But the thing I'm going to say is you give Mike Kafka a chance. He has been interviewed for a couple head coaching jobs, has not gotten them. Well, now he'll have a resume, be it with a Giants team whose defense just seems like it's falling apart. I mean, listen, Caleb Williams is not the be-all, end-all, but he certainly looked like Johnny Unitas on Sunday. I mean, come on, man. Hey, Patrick Mahomes. He looked like Patrick Mahomes. So the Giants now are back to square one, and in the offing will probably be another coaching search in the offseason. Although, again, if Kafka can do something with this team, he might warrant being hired as the coach. But I think realistically, and a couple of the Giants beat writers have said this already, and I kind of agree, you're going to need a head coach with experience in the NFL. You can't go with an offensive coordinator. You've got to have somebody with a resume. Carl Banks has been touting Matt Patricia, who's the defensive coordinator for New England, and I will not disagree on that one. He's got experience in Detroit, although it didn't work out that well. I heard another rumor, if the Browns move on from Kevin Stefanski, would he be a fit with the Giants? And, okay. And the other part of this is that the Giants are not exactly threadbare. I mean, their defense has got some really good players. I think Shane Bowen's the wrong coordinator, and I think he should have been shown the door. But again, you can't fire everybody in one fell swoop. That's number one. But the offense has got some parts. Jackson Dart, Cam Scattaboo, Tyrone Tracy, and Malik Neighbors. That's not a bad line. It's the line that's so bad. That offensive line, they've got to improve that offensive line. And that's something that Joe Schoen, I don't think, really has addressed. And I think that's my major problem with Joe Schoen. He's not been able to get pieces of the puzzle, be it in the offseason, in free agency, or in the draft. And his refusal to draft linemen in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, I think that's one of the Achilles heel. That's when you find those little gems and stuff, and he's not doing that. So we will wait and see what indeed happens to the New York Giants. Of course, I always say that every time the Giants do something, then there's the New York Jets. I can't say that because both teams now have the same number of wins this year. And the Jets are winning in the social media category because they've got the dancing coach to September. Anyhow, moving onward and upward, that is Tripp's Take for Thursday, November 13th. I'd love to hear your comments and questions about my podcast. Feel free to email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, the home stretch of the fantasy season is here. The Hall of Famer Mike Sheck and yours truly are back with the Fantasy Sultans. You can find us on Spotify for creators and on YouTube. Just search for Fantasy Sultans. Also, I want to invite you to catch my new podcast. I do it with my college classmate, Phil Yale. It's a trivia challenge. It's called Trippin' Up. You can find it on YouTube and Spotify, and you can play along with us. We have a fun time with that, and you can also hear it on WTRS Radio. Speaking of that, if you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, why don't you give a listen to that? It's on live365.com, WTRSradio.com. I will talk to you again soon. I hope you have a wonderful week. For now, Tripp Rogers. Thanks for joining me. Make it a great one.